alive. It's alive. Here we are after our evening of recording.
Right.
Starting live. It's Monday night. Sometimes we're like, why do we do this on Monday night? But here we are. We're trying to be consistent. And
it does feel that way sometimes.
We've been having lots of people join the conversation. So that's what we want to do.
Right. So if you're out there, make sure you say hi. I don't see anybody in the chat yet, but I'm right at 9:30, and I know there's some other chats that happen tonight, other live shows that happen.
Right. There you go.
I knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm. Bring that with you.
Mm-hmm.
So generally what we do, if you've joined us before, is we talk about kind of what we did tonight on the recording and some things that have happened between last Monday and this Monday, and kind of go through some stuff that we did tonight.
Yeah, Brody and Brian Landreth in the house.
There we go. Hey, Brody.
So, where do you want to start tonight?
I don't know. Do we want to start by...
Well, you could do roll call first.
That's right.
Hi, Brody. Hi, Brian.
Yeah, present. Present. Brit. There we go.
So, we got that done.
Whew.
Well, I think let's save the... We got an unboxing we could do. We got the live show to talk about. You want to talk about what we recorded tonight? You want to start with that since you have it on and you open
it's on. It's of course, I need another tremolo pedal, right? I was looking for pedals for the Leslie show that's coming up. That's a segue to something later. Oh, maybe you did. Maybe you tied it up. Who knows? Maybe you put it at the desk. But you can see the Beard shirt. We're trying to gear up for the Leslie show, so we have the schematic drawing of a Leslie speaker with its patent from November 29th, 1949, about the same time I was born, I think. But in the quest of looking for these Leslie pedals, I found my version of a Leslie pedal, which is tremolo, and Brody and I both have Cesar Diaz tremolos, so we're sort of spoiled. But this
Dan Electro CEO.
Yeah, CEO tremolo is pretty nice. This is clean. It's also got like a hard chop, and it's a hard chop. But for the little bit of nothing I paid for it, I like it.
So that was one episode we did tonight, filmed that. And then the other one we did the Dare to Compare between this and the Firefly. So we did the open box. So Brian asked, smash or trash? It's not a lot of options, Brian.
That's keep or weep. Like,
I'm gonna take it now. I would have taken it earlier, but I wanted to try and play it this weekend. So
he did.
I'm gonna take it now and give it to Chris Delaporte again. And hopefully Chris can take a good look at it, and we have him on a show. Well, that's when we have, I guess, coming up to record. So we'll have Chris over one Monday night to record that, and give the expert opinion much like he did on the Firefly, which I think that was pretty beneficial last time. Out of the box, the Firefly was unplayable.
Right.
In a lot, like to take it and play it on a Sunday in a live situation.
Right.
It was unplayable because there were some intonation problems that were too much to overcome. Brian, I think this still has a little bit of intonation problems. But, that said, it... That might need tuned from when we were playing it. Because I was setting cameras up and stuff. Didn't have time to tune it, but...
And I was playing on my phone, so...
Yeah. Brody, you would be surprised at how much help PJ was at that time.
Yes. I looked at him and I said, what can I say to be helpful? My favorite phrase I learned in the South last time I was in Smashville.
So
well, yeah.
that might be a little bit closer. So I was able to play it. I played it for a couple songs. I didn't play it the whole set, and I didn't play it for most of the rehearsal and a couple tunes. I found like I would not go to an open D. I would go to up here because maybe the intonation was a little bit better. Fit and finish wise, Brian, it's nice.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you can call that, we've settled on spicy brown mustard. If you can call that, TV yellow, but as far as the stain job and everything, it looks pretty nice. I mean,
it's a cool looking guitar and
sounds cool. Like this,
any guitar sounds better with overdrive.
Right, that's not how we would probably use it. What would we be playing like?
With the believer, you do that, didn't
it?
Did you go kill him?
No, but I just totally messed it up. And it sounds totally different playing that than it did when we had the amp cranked up.
Well, yeah, because when we're recording, we have the amp at like 4. And I believe you should give it 2 1/8. Yeah.
It sounds
when
weird.
it's not loud enough, you get almost more of your reverb than you do of your overdrive.
Right, it's not. It's kind of disappointing when you turn it
Yeah,
on.
that's right. Yeah, Brody likes the 38 Special. Don Barnes played juniors.
38 Special. Do you know 38 Special?
Oh, yeah.
I'd pass it over to you.
Oh, it's going to be bad because I'm not that good and Brody knows it. You can do it? Oh, am I playing it? Okay. There we go. Hold that beast. Okay, someone. I think PRS got sued for that because it was like a Les Paul because it weighs about 100 pounds.
Yeah, that's
It won't be exactly right, Brody, because I always play it in the wrong key. But you get the idea. You know the drive one. Drive. Wow. What do we got here? Oh, I'm in my amp. Woo! It's with everything turned down. It's so boring.
Yeah, it's so boring.
What am I trying to say? Yeah, Brody's got some nice guitars. We're buffering. Sweet. Good, because we're sucking, too. YouTube must be aware of the poor quality of the broadcast, so it is matching it with the poor quality of the stream. Oh,
no, I'm looking over there. Things look all right.
Yeah.
Who said y'all are buffering?
So back to, you can go to Brian's question because we sort of answered that. Well, part of what we said, if I'm understanding the question, we're just going to say what our conclusion, if there was one, that between the Firefly and the Harley Benton, there's about a $60 difference to get it. The Harley Benton cost about $60 more. So if you're going to mod something and you get the Firefly, your $60 to the good to start your modifications.
Right.
Although quality-wise, this might have been a little better platform out of the box. But,
yeah, and that's kind of where I'm going, Brian. Like, with this, I think a setup out of the box, if you're competent enough to do your own setups, then, there's a savings there. But, I wanted a single P90 Junior-esque guitar, but I wouldn't use it very often, so I didn't want to spend something big. And I also want... Yeah, I just didn't want to spend that kind of money. So this is kind of like perfect, right? For the couple times I'm going to use it.
Well, it's going to sound really weird, like a cop-out, but, I mean, So at church, we play at a certain volume, and then when we jam at the end as people are leaving, or we chase them out, which how we look at it, and you bump that up, it sounds good loud. I know most things do, but I mean, it has like
right.
a whole other level, opens up a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is not a really good representation of it. And I don't know how strong that pickup is compared to other pickups, but when you opened it up...
You hear that note and bend it, that like that doesn't feel... But when you open the amp up and do that, right. Oh my gosh, right. It just goes.
What's up, Dan in New Jersey? Yeah, I don't know if we're... So Ben's, I guess Ben's show... Was Ben's show buffering as well, or did he just have other experiences there? Or? Maybe it'll be Conspiracy Mondays. Conspiracy Mondays.
Well, let's All right. So the other thing that we did this weekend.
Oh yeah.
We went to Philadelphia Guitar Show.
Yes, we did. Kind of last minute. I didn't realize it was this weekend until Friday.
And that's overwhelming to me because I said to Pat on the way home, like, I don't know that I could buy a guitar there. I don't know that I could
pick from the 49 Les Pauls that are there.
Right. And be able to sit down and play it and find one that I like. But it's so cool. There's so much good stuff going on. Highly recommend if you're in that area, Philadelphia Guitar Show. But while we were there, we ran into a friend of Pat's from the old days at Triple R, right?
And Brody would probably know what I'm talking about. So Shane Regal was there. And Shane, fantastic player for one, is now working with Alsip Guitars out of like the Atlanta area. Oh my gosh, Willoughby is his last name. I keep having such a mental block. It's not Joe. My gosh, it's terrible. The owner of the company, the CEO. It's his mom's maiden name, Alsip. Mm-hmm. So these guitars are sort of in honor of her. And so we walked through and boom, there's the Alsip booth and there's Shane. I hadn't seen him, didn't know he was going to be there. We filmed a quick episode of an interview with both of them.
Which would be out Saturday.
Yeah, and... we saw them. Hey, we haven't really gone around the show. Would you be up for an interview? We'll get you closer when it's time to pack up, but don't get in your way of packing up. He's like, sure. So we walk around the show, come back, shoot the interview, thank him. We got some time. We're walking around, and later on he catches up to us, and he's like, hey, if we sent you a guitar, would you guys want to review it and look at it? And we're like, sure. And he said, we could ship you one. We've got FedEx account or whatever. I'm like, okay, great. And I said, well, you not only have to ship it one way because I'm going to Atlanta several times in the next couple months. And he's like, cool. So he walks away. And as we're walking, Jason's like, well, why don't you see if they just want to give you one tonight? Then you have it. And then you drive it back to Atlanta. It never has to go in the mail. So we walk back, and they were kind enough to give us this one, which Shane was playing at the show. They probably had about 8 or 9 guitars at the show. And he was playing this one, and they said, well, send it with them because this is a 1940s authentic Pennsylvania license plate on this. And this is part of their classic series. So their classic series, as you can imagine, is a Strat style, a Tele style, and an offset style. And so...
This is like real barnwood.
Yeah, alder barnwood. We'll go over the specs when we do it. So it's kind of like some modern appointments meet an old barn and a 1941 license plate. And so we'll demo it in another one. But it was really cool of them to let us do that. And they pretty much alluded to the fact that we could do more later.
Right.
So it's really cool for them to trust us with this. It's a really unique looking guitar, and I have no idea how much in the frame this is.
That double humbucker guitar he had too is, they had some really nice guitars.
Yeah, so this would be like their street price, like $1,595. The other guitars in the higher line start at like $2,900.
Right.
And the one that he had there, which you'd see in the episode, was pretty nice. Again, a great story. Like we talked about this channel, part of the great part of this channel is learning the stories. Like when we went to Brody's, learning how much his dad was an influence on him, and we've gone to different places and hear stories. He was starting this building prototypes. He owned a music store, and his mom was diagnosed with cancer. And by the time he got things up and running, she passed away, and so he decided to name the company after her. And this is actually the font from, I think, her actual signature.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool story. Really great guy, and I cannot believe I'm blank on his first name. That is horrible. So I've enjoyed holding their last guitar. But Shane was really cool about it, and you're right, Brody. He is a ridiculous player, and you will see. These necks are all handmade. He said they use a CNC machine, I think on these two, to do the outside of the body and the outside of the neck, and then all of the necks are hand carved. So it's not, and it's kind of like a Telly style headstock, but not quite, on a Strat body, more or less, with some different twists and turns. So super nice of them to let us do that. My goal is to get it back to them in one piece, but it's already kind of quasi-relic, right? So how would they know? So we've been texting back and forth with them, and we'll get the episode up and running. I'm just trying to look up his first name because I feel.
So while you're looking
it's
up,
Jake Willoughby is the CEO and master luthier of CR Alsip Guitars. So anyway, here it is.
So Brian said, so it's set up, new pots, new pickups. It's knocking a hole in the 500. So yeah. So the interesting thing, like on this one, that came with a bone nut.
Right.
So I wouldn't replace the nut.
Right.
But the bone nut wasn't carved real well, so I had,
And fortunately, he had to cut it down. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't cut too deep. It wasn't cut deep enough.
So, and then as far as the electronics went, it has an orange drop in there. Mm-hmm. The capacity, I mean, the pots and stuff don't seem too bad. And I'm normally really picky about volume pots and stuff. Don't seem too bad to me. So I did buy a $12 replacement bridge. But right now where this guitar sits at $139.99, $12, which I had a coupon for eBay, so it was really like $6 for the replacement bridge. And then whatever money you would pay somebody like Chris, you're probably in at close to $200. And then if you bought like a really smoking set of pickups or something, depending on how much that would cost you. So yeah, you could get back up into that $500 range pretty quick though, because pickups can be expensive.
It's crazy. I haven't played that guitar that much, but I played it tonight to start because we did a Dare to Compare. You started the Harley Benton, so like we're trying to dial up a sound a little bit or whatever. I'm like, man, I really like this guitar. Yeah, it's like it plays great now. Like and those pickups are great and
has this baseball.
Great might be a strong word, but they're good. They're good pickups.
Has this like baseball,
fat
neck on it,
and it's Arctic white.
And then the Harley Benton, we'll find out from Chris. I don't want to say too much about that until Chris gets a chance to look at it.
Yeah. Other than we found nothing really super glaring.
But hey, Terry. Terry's in the house.
Sorry, Terry. But we didn't open up the back. Didn't look at any of that stuff. Just played it.
We'll let him do that. So, Terry, that was an...
CR Alsip.
Yeah, CR Alsip.
ALSIP out of just north of Atlanta.
And I'm thinking Saturday we'll have the video from...
the Philly Guitar Show.
Will come out and it features the owner and Shane on that.
They make, we talked to them, they make like 30 guitars a year. Custom orders, they've done some stuff for Lita Ford and some other players.
This was also at the Philly Guitar Show?
Yeah, be careful, you might break a toe if you drop
it. Yeah, like, this is the brick. Have you seen these? So, back in the Leslie world, just for a second.
I don't think we ever leave the Leslie world too long.
Well, not right recently.
It's so heavy. Can you see how heavy that is?
Oh my gosh, it really is.
I was afraid to pick it up yesterday.
So it's the Line 6, this is the first Line 6 pedal I've ever owned. Line 6 Roto machine, which gets a lot of props for being a really great sounding Leslie. We have not plugged it in yet. But with box, with manuals, with warranty cards, like, not that that matters, but...
makes it more interesting.
It's easier to resell if you ever want to resell it.
And these two chuckleheads who have a YouTube channel, there was a small haggling with the price. Not a lot. But, you're at a show. It's the last day. It's Sunday, right, Brody? That's when everybody doesn't want to pack up their stuff. So Jason made him an offer, a little bit off, and the guy was like, he kind of met him halfway, and then Jason just mentioned, hey, we're trying to gather all these Leslie pedals for a YouTube channel. He's like, wait, you have a YouTube channel? He goes, yeah. He goes, will you mention me on the YouTube channel? We're like, sure. He goes, all right. He knocked another $10 off.
I was like, all right, $10.
You're like, all right, sure. So we shot a real quick thing and throw it on Instagram. But
yeah, well, so let's mention him. And actually, the cool thing is Bob. But the cool thing about Bob is he didn't want to be mentioned.
Okay.
Personally, he just wanted us to mention the Philadelphia Guitar Show.
Yeah,
because they're trying to build that back up, and it's a cool thing. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, it was Bob. And it was interesting because you talked to him. I don't know what I was doing while you were talking to him. But he's basically like got this huge pile of pedals and some great ones. And he brings them out for the July show and then puts them away. And then brings them out for the November show and then puts them away.
Right.
But he really was. That's a true story. He was more interested in you promoting the Philly Guitar Show than necessarily him personally.
Right.
And the two young lads that work for him. But yeah, I think they were surprised. They're like, wait, well, if you want to negotiate, you have to ask Bob. And then Bob gave him one price and then gave him the second price. And the kid's head was like,
well, I'd already handed the kid the money for the first price.
So we had to make change, awkwardly make change after giving him the appropriate amount of money for the first offer.
I don't think he was real happy.
The kid wasn't, but he said Bob's the guy, so
right.
Bob was happy.
So we have this in two, not a Leslie.
Right. Leslie's stepsister.
Anybody familiar with the MXR microcourse? Which, if you crank that mix knob, you get kind of a really cool Leslie sound. So, alternative Leslie pedal. Brian said he's thinking about building it. We were talking, not to get off topic here, but...
Is there a topic?
Right, it's not really a topic. So we had, like, between us, I don't think any guitars with P90s in them. Now we had the PRS SE was sitting around. So, since we started this show, the Tagima Woodstock series, the Firefly, and now the Harley Benton, and I'm starting to find that I like P90s.
Well, eventually we'll bring over the 65.
Well, why don't you bring that over?
Well, I got it out the other day. My gosh, the checking on it was really bad when I got it 15 years ago.
But that's cool.
No, it is. I just looked at it in the case, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is just like needs to be shown more love or put somewhere in the plexiglass case like the Stairway guitar in Wayne's World.
Yeah. Lawler P90s.
Another unboxing. Is everyone else always cut towards their body art? You taught to cut away from your body?
Tell us more about the Philly Guitar Show. Was Gibson there?
No. The only manufacturers, this might be safe to say, well, that's not true. Reverend was there.
Mm-hmm.
Martin and Taylor. Outside of that, I don't think there was
a lot of PRS.
There was a lot of PRSs that, like, when I went in July, my wife and I ran into Paul. So he is partnered up with somebody. So there was another store, but you're right. More or less of an official presence of PRS, minus Paul. I didn't see him.
Boss was there.
That's true. So I'm really lying. Yeah, but like as far as guitar manufacturers,
Homestead Amps, which I was like totally.
Warren Haynes.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Homestead Amps, check them out. What they're doing like for, and their players are like Warren Haynes and Jimmy Herring and I'll forget his name again.
Every time you look, and I don't help you at all.
Wow.
And so the young guy's like 22 years old. Plays a red 335-ish.
Red 35. Well, it's not 335.
Every time, and we can't do this. I usually do this, and then he pops up his name. It's terrible.
Somebody help me out.
It's one of those like brain blocks. Brody's pushing it towards
McCarty,
yeah. Well, he does like the McCartys. He's got two of them with different pickup configurations.
That is just terrible. It's every episode we've done where we mention him.
Marcus
King.
There we go.
Marcus King.
I win. Good night, everybody. Good
if
night.
you haven't seen, Brian, you got to know Marcus King, right? Because
gosh.
Brian knows Warren and
right.
So Brian's going to be hip to that. But these guys, Warren's amp, they actually had Warren's signature model guitar there. It was number 2, and they one night backstage at a mule show, or one of the shows where Warren was at, they swapped their number 2 for his signature model number 1 that he had sitting there. And so Warren's sitting apparently on, they were telling the story, Warren's sitting on the couch playing this guitar, looking at him kind of funny. Like, why doesn't this feel right? And they're like, because that's not your guitar, that's ours.
And he wanted that one.
No, did he?
Yeah.
So, and they build the Homestead amp that he uses, and they sound good. There was somebody playing them there, and it was wild. It sounded great. We walked around the corner. There's a kid playing a Homestead amp with like long red hair, and I'm like, that's Marcus King.
Right, it wasn't.
And then we turned the corner, saw him, and it wasn't. But at first we were like, that.
I'm just kind of looking through my phone, but yeah, I mean, I guess PRS was more or less officially represented there because it was the same booth that was there in July, but it's blended in with this other guitar store that's not one of the ones, if you follow PRS, that you would really know.
There was, I mean, there's a lot of, so like Go pedal boards. We saw a guy from Go pedal boards. He was making interesting pedal boards. I'm trying to think. There were some other manufacturers, and then a lot of guys selling stuff, right?
But it was really cool. I have a picture. Just check out Instagram. I didn't want to put all the pictures out in one day, but it was really interesting. I was sitting at the Martin table booth playing a Martin guitar, and I look up, and the two guys are talking, and one is a representative from Martin, and the other one's from Taylor. Taylor had a booth like 3 booths away, and they were telling stories about CF Martin and Taylor's first name, Bob Taylor, like talk quite a bit, and they get along. And so I took a picture of those two like shaking hands, going, if these guys can get along, can't we all just get along?
Brody asked 73. You know what, Brody? There was like no amps there. The only amp builder there that I saw was Homestead. I mean, and like people had like a random amp or two at their table.
But I would say the lion's share of the amps that we saw were Fenders.
But they were like Fender Bandmaster heads. There was one Supro in the whole show that I saw. There was one 64 Vibrolux that I drooled over for a little bit. Couple Deluxes. Couple like Silvertone kind of things. But like really it was like nothing.
I did not see any Three Monkeys or a Little Walter. And I don't know, have I heard of Allen? I don't think I've heard of Allen amps, Brian.
Is Allen amps, are they like kind of a Fenderish? Because I feel like I have heard of them. If they're Fenderish, maybe.
I don't even know what this is. What is this?
This is, well...
You guys ever go to a party with your significant other, like, what do we get them? Like, I look at this and these boxes show up and I go, what do we get? Oh. The power of oh my, that's cool. Oh my. There you go. Cool.
Interesting. The Luster K from Electro Harmonics. So
we are definitely, I say we, I mean, Jason has bought the majority of them. A couple stickers, little tongue sole tubes. Ah, yes, the very famous Electro Harmonics, which I saw Josh Scott was wearing this in one of his videos the other day.
Yeah. No, we have some...
Oh, and it came with this. Oh, no, dude.
Although I sold the red Zen drive and I stuck one of those in the thick end.
Nice. Yeah, we did open a reverb store. We mentioned that. And don't worry, Brody. We didn't tell you to buy a Zen drive because we're selling ours. We're trying to sell pedals that we have duplicates of between the two of us. So, anyway. Tongue salt, pine salt. I love it. Love the play on words. I enjoy puns.
Yeah, Brian. I think somebody in one of the groups was sending me pictures of his Allen amp and recommending them, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
What else we got? That's it?
I think that's
I gotta go back to this though. This is maybe the greatest sticker ever. This came with the Harley Benton. And we showed it. I think that video's out, right? But on your window, like, oh, we've got pets and we've got 6 children. Tolman Group, brilliant. In case of emergency, rescue my guitars. So, and I like the way it's pointing up. So Brody, maybe I'll get you when we come down, maybe in July if we're coming down. We'll put this pointing up at your guitar room. Save the guitars. Not that we don't love kids and dogs, but I couldn't find our reverb store.
I'll have to find a link and try and put it somewhere. Should just be PJ and the Beard.
I don't know.
Reverb can be funny sometimes.
No, we didn't get a coloring page, Terry.
And the coloring page, maybe we didn't look hard enough.
The box is still around here somewhere.
Right.
What do we got?
So yeah, what else? So we got the...
Well, we got to figure out, like, this Leslie series that we keep talking about and keep buying stuff from shirts to pedals. We've kicked around ideas of how we want to do this, and maybe to kick it off, a little bit of a JHS style video where, like, hey, here's these pedals, and just show a little bit of certain ones, or hold up maybe the whole collection, and maybe just play very briefly a few, and then go into each pedal. I mean, we could be doing Leslie pedals until one of us isn't here anymore.
And I think we owe... There's some companies that have sent us stuff for free, so those will probably be front loaded in the series because I think they send us something we kind of owe to them to put theirs out first.
But just trying to figure out how they'll like the actual demo will be pretty consistent, like how we feature them, what have you. So we're still talking about it, and every night we come, we're like, we should start doing that pretty soon because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh my
7,
gosh,
8.
who knows?
We're probably up to 12 already, 12 or 13.
I don't know. There's a lot. Well, there's supposedly more coming because a lot of the ones that companies have sent out for free aren't here yet. Some of them are coming from
One's
overseas.
in transit, right? Yeah, the first one that you heard, which I won't mention the name, but like coming from overseas, and it was like, yeah, we'll give you one, and if you're interested in these other ones, we'll give them to you for a ridiculous cost, and don't say anything because they're not out yet. So we'll wait for that.
Right. Yeah, and then there's some other companies too.
So what? I'm just gonna call you Terry, because I'm not sure what to call you. What Harley Bentons do you have? Because you're saying like 2 or 3. Look at you. I like it. Yeah. What Harley Bentons do you have? I saw the 335 style Harley Benton. I've seen a couple of really good reviews of that. People really impressed with that. And we don't know what else we're going to find, whatever else we're going to get. We don't know. Like, we'll continue down the Harley Benton journey because it's really interesting.
It is. I mean, I can't get over how...
I mean, even Chris Delaporta is like, I have no idea how they make a guitar at this price point. That with the quality. I mean, again, he did a few minor-ish things to that one. DR Guitars. It's way in the corner. I would get it, but
yeah, I've been really blown away.
Yeah.
Ooh. That was me. That wasn't the guitar.
All right. Well, we did make our share of mistakes playing the 2 guitars. So we blamed it on inexpensive guitars. We only make mistakes on inexpensive guitars.
Right.
Or guitars with 6 strings.
Well, anytime I have to play the same 4 chords over and over, you can guarantee after about 5 passes I'm going to mess up.
And anytime you have to play in front of a camera.
So, DR Guitars.
All right,
I'm trying to think if I know that.
Is the TE52 the like the thin line telly? Is that what that is? What's the TE52? So yeah,
I feel like I just subscribed to DR Guitars the other day, but it's not. I feel like I just subscribed to to DR Guitars the other day.
I thought you
it's
said
not,
described. I'm like,
no,
when?
subscribed.
Like we were in the car for a couple hours. I don't remember you describing anything to me. I took the beard to Shake Shack and he got a chicken sandwich. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't really make them. What did you think of we should do a food review. What did you think of the shake at Shake Shack?
It's alright.
Now, you come from a family that owned a Dairy Queen, so maybe it's
alright.
already jaded.
I have a pretty high ice cream.
Yeah, I took him to get a burger, fries, and a shake, and $16 later.
Yeah, like, come on, man. I got a chicken sandwich on a Martin's roll, so it's like this big. A small fry and a small chocolate shake, and my bill was $16. I was sticker shock.
It's much more magical in this general area here. Oh, I like
this. It sounds so pretty.
Yeah. Okay. Taking the Tim Hortons. Will he clutch his chest at that point? Yeah, Terry, that's great, man. Like, there's so much of that stuff, the Harley Benton stuff, that's just really interesting. It just takes a long time to get certain things, and
Well, I think this one was back ordered. I mean, it's not Amazon 2-day shipping.
right.
But once they shipped it, it was only like 7 days.
Yeah.
It was less than 7 days, I think. Shipping wasn't that bad.
That and cumulatively, a lot of capital is tied up in getting this Leslie series up and going. So,
Right, yeah. I mean, there will be Leslie pedals on the PJ and the Beard Reverse store simply because I can't sink all that money into getting them and then not turn some of them over because, I mean, I'd like to keep them all.
you're right, DR Guitars. He should have got the burger. I try to tell him. But it's called Shake Shack, and he did get a shake, so I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, Shake Shack, that's...
Then he dipped his fries in. How do you guys feel about that? Like, our Canadian friends, like, you have poutine that's, like, in gravy? What's poutine again? Like, fries?
Gravy and cheese curd.
So I guess if you're from Canada and you're not afraid to put your fries in gravy and cheese curd, try putting it in a chocolate shake.
You've never put...
I have. I do used to do that at McDonald's.
You've never dipped a fry in a chocolate
No,
shake?
I have. I'm saying to them.
Yeah, Brian, like $16, I should be sitting down and they bring me a plate of food, not a tiny chicken sandwich, 4 fries, and a chocolate shake.
I choose to believe somehow we're changing the world for children by eating at Shake Shack. Well, if nothing else, Martin's potato rolls are made about 40 minutes south of here, and they are fantastic people. So anytime I can go somewhere and support Martin's.
He's just upset because he talked me into it against my better judgment, and he probably won't talk me into it again.
Although he took me, he was driving, so I'm like, it's in a mall parking lot, King of Prussia Mall, for those of you who know, one of the biggest malls on the East Coast. And he's like, I gotta go into a mall parking lot, but we're getting way off track. But no, so we went to the Philly Guitar Show, and I had a wonderful experience at Shake Shack.
Yeah, about 2+ weeks to come from. Yeah, I can see it. So that's the
Red Robin, the Royal Robin, with a little fried egg on your burger. This has turned into food time. So right now, what's this guy's Guy Fieri? Let's keep talking about food.
Well, I was gonna bring it back to that. When did that episode come out? Was it last Wednesday, I believe?
I think maybe.
Right. So that's down here on the board. So the reason this Harley Benton sounds like. Is that Belief pedal?
Now you're making me want to go to.
I know, I'm
Red
like
Robin.
hungry, and you guys will shut up about food.
Oh, there you go, PJ Fieri. I saw Guy Fieri in the Charlotte airport. I didn't take my moment, but I've had people second look me at an airport before, and I assume that's what it's for.
See,
It's not because I'm on.
ladies
like,
and
some type
gentlemen,
of-
this is not a true story.
It's not just-
Because for Pat to sit here and tell you that he was in the vicinity of a famous person for whatever possible reason that person might be famous, and that he did not stalk him until he got a picture, is a lie.
I keep joking that maybe the restraining order that Brent Mason has against me is going to hopefully expire by July. Track him down again.
Burger Meister burger.
Yes.
Can't do it.
Apparently we could start a secondary food channel here. Well, Brody knows from being in Nashville, every time you go to meet with a producer and plan out your sessions, it's always about the first part of the conversation about where you're going to eat for the week.
Well, I mean, that's any conference / professional development that you do. The first
Right.
question is always, where are we going to eat?
I feel like because some other people have joined in, I'll hold this up again just because it's kind of unique looking. See our Alsip Guitars, ran into them at the Philly show and gave us one to try out, which we're going to have some episode
I
coming
mean,
up.
they don't spare expenses on the hardware, though. Like, I love this the switch feels like that. Switch feels great.
Yeah.
Which is a stupid thing to say, but it really does. It feels like.
Well, no, it's like that on my Duesenberg too. I mean, Duesenberg touts every little piece that they have and where it came from, but so cool guitar. We'll get into it at some point. Yes, the heat miser thing. Yeah, I know. I'm slightly in between haircuts, but you know, neither one of us are branded today. But it's so funny. We were in the Philly Guitar Show, right? And a couple times I got separated from him, and I kept wanting to point at my shirt. Anyone seen this guy right here? And I was very upset at the Philly Guitar Show because 2 times people said basically that because of the beard, he was like the eye candy and the star of the show. Never going back to Philly ever.
What are you talking about?
What kind of bridge is that? Hold on, let me get the spec sheet because I texted the guys. Of course, I held the guitar up. It's my fault.
Can you hold this?
Yeah. It is. I can give you all of the specs because they textified them to me this morning. All right. So, it's an alder barnwood aged body, a maple neck with maple fingerboard, black dot inlays, 25.5-inch scale, 14-inch radius, Dunlop 6105 jumbo frets, Godo mini tuners, Seymour Duncan SSL 6 single coil pickups, a 1941 antique authentic tag pickguard, Dunlop strap lock buttons, Clusion 6-screw trem, 300K CTS spots, .047 oil and paper cap, copper shielding, and cloth-covered vintage wire. Comes with a gig bag, street price $15.95. Well, it was funny, real quick, because I want you to. When we got it, like we looked at it, and the middle pickup was like all the way down. Well, Shane, the guy who was an artist who's now part of the company, does a lot of sweep picking and all kinds of stuff. And I've texted them, and they're like, I took it out to a gig, and I lowered that pickup, so I wasn't beating up on it the whole time while I was picking. So we brought it back up a little bit, and you can play a little bit, but yeah. So,
did it say what kind of bridge it was?
Yeah, I did. I answered that. I read the whole thing.
After all that, I didn't know, man. Maybe they couldn't.
I said it, now I got to read it again. It's a Clusion 6-string... Clusion 6-screw trem.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things he said, the owner said, is like everything is high quality.
No locking tuners. Right?
Which for me is I'm not a big fan
of non-locking tuners.
No, of locking tuners.
Oh, okay.
It's just I'm not a fan. They don't do anything tuning wise. All they do is lock the string in place. I mean, it's not like they make it stay in tune better. So I get frustrated with some of them. Do you know what the best design, like the 50s Tully has the old split top, where you cut the string and then put the string down in and then wrap it? That's like one of the best designs of all the guitars down here. I don't know why everybody got away from that.
So, Dan, New Jersey, quickly though, like they custom make guitars. You can get string through. You can get Floyd Rose. You can get Kaler. Like you can get whatever you want on one of these. This just happens to be the configuration that they put on this particular one. But anyway, yeah, Cluson. Yeah, I know. I got you, Brian. It's kind of weird. Like when you read a word that you're used to saying, and I'm not making any sense, but I read the whole list, and I caught myself. You caught me even better.
Well, we didn't want to play this one too much.
Well, we are. You are.
Well.
Again, in a lower volume, it's hard. SRB thing. Right? Good. Now I can't remember it.
It's like one of those things. Everybody plays it though. I never really learned the song. I just kind of know it's.
But
yeah, anybody that knows it would be like, that's not.
Yeah, so I mean, again, we're getting kind of into the weeds with this for sure, which is fine. But basically, Jake owned a shop for 16 years and sold and worked on a lot of really classic high-end guitars. And every once in a while, people are like, I wish they would have done this or that on this kind of thing. So I don't know if this string tree is part of that thing. Again, kind of an interesting headstock. Like Jason was saying, kind of off camera, we were talking about this guitar, and a lot of times custom builds, like they kind of miss the mark on the headstock. This is a really interesting headstock. Not quite a telly, but it's just really cool.
I don't mind it.
No, sometimes it's like, oh,
yeah. All right. I mean, that can be a deal breaker for me. Like that headstock. Like anything with a Dean headstock on it. For me, I'm sure there's somebody out there that loves this, but for me, I just, like the pointy. I don't know. I shouldn't have said that, but somebody's gonna flame me now.
So Dan in New Jersey, people think we live in the weeds too. One of the most commonly asked comments: "Are you all high?" I always look like I'm coming off a bender, but I'm not.
Yeah, I don't. That is kind of weird. Well, and it's only on those two. Why? I wonder why they didn't do these two.
I don't know. I mean,
that's a question for the builder.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think when I go back to Georgia to my wife is down there working, see him. I'm going to stop and see Jake.
On the way to see her.
Yeah, and he's offered to first of all have a barbecue at his house, which I'm down, but to take me over to where the guitars are built, and so I might do an interview with him without you. You're welcome. I'll just send it to you to edit. So anyway, it was just a really happy happenstance coincidence that ran into Shane and it turned into this. So
the barnwood is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like legitimately barnwood. It's not. It kind of reminds me. Remember those Fender guitars where they like sandblasted them and they had the ridges to them a little bit and stuff. They had like a red one and a blue one. They sandblasted and it kind of reminds me of that a little. I mean, there's like a. It's not a smooth highly polished piece of wood. It's a piece of barnwood.
You won't get a splinter, but it feels like I better be careful. I might get a splinter, but you won't. And
then the neck feels really nice. Like the carve, look at that. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
The neck is carved. That's really nice. The neck is really nice. The radius is kind of different. It seems flat.
Well, yeah, it is, but it was a.
All right, is there any of our metal friends here? Where's
Joe?
Joe. So a standard neck radius on a Strat.
It was like 9.5, I think, when we 9.5.
So if you go up or down, does it get flatter?
Well, this is a 14-inch radius.
So this is a 14-inch radius. Is that more of a speed kind of thing?
I don't know.
Because Shane can.
Oh yeah.
He can do that.
Yes, he can. So yeah, it's cool. And there's others. There's one that has a Texas license plate on it that has slightly different features, but so it's C.R. Alsip, ALSIP. You can look them up. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, DR, that's right.
Higher slider. So this is a 14. So is that like a metal thing?
I don't know. It felt different, and I didn't equate what the difference was until you said something, and then we looked up. Higher is flatter, yes.
Well, DR said that 14 is fairly flat, coming from mostly Paul Reed Smith's couple gizzards. So I don't think I would have any guitars that would be that. That would be very flat for me.
Quentin James. Gomer Castro.
Quentin, I got the replay of his live show from the other night. Got to see some of his playing, and he was playing some sweet stuff. And it sounded great, too. So if you haven't checked out that, check out Quentin's show. It sounds like DR Guitars has a show, too, that people should be checking out. And Terry has a show that people should be checking out. Who in here does not have a YouTube channel?
Brody. Not yet.
And Brian, we're still trying to work on Brian into starting his, although he has a good idea for it.
Well, we're changing ours to a cooking show, so
yes,
we're going to leave this slot wide open for guitars.
Next week we'll be doing burgers and their prices.
Yes, that's right.
Why eat a burger when you can get a chicken sandwich? I'm sorry. If it's the choice between McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, and Chick-fil-A, I'm going to Chick-fil-A every day.
I'm not saying I'm disagreeing with that. I when I'm in Atlanta, I pretty much hit Chick-fil-A at least once a day.
So.
Okay.
So most of the Harley Benton is 14-inch radius. So is. Well, I'll tell you one thing. The action on this is not set up like that.
No. I mean, this is set up for a guy who can straight up shred. It's got 9s on it, which we're not used to. Flat radius, and I mean, Shane can smoke. Again, not built for that guy necessarily, kind of, sort of. But I mean, to tell you again about his style of picking, he had this pickup flat against the body because he didn't want to get it in the way. Yeah, but it's set up. I mean, it plays really well. Like it's once you get used to the radius,
right. It's not. The action on this is considerably higher. I mean, that's sitting right where it needs to be.
Yeah, no. So it's really kind of them. We'll dig into it a little bit more at some point, and maybe have a little bit of a stream of these coming in and out. Maybe get a hold of. I don't know how much I want to have one of their $33,000 guitars in my possession, but.
Terry, you might have Wendy's in Canada, but man, they need to stop selling poutine. It's just not.
It's poutine there.
They don't sell it. Wendy's doesn't sell it here, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't sell it in Canada either. I can't imagine any. My wife and I have a thing for the poutine, and I think Burger King. I think we tried theirs once too. Just stop it. And just, you got a good thing going. Why are you ruining it? Knock it off.
It's nice that you said they have a good thing going.
They do. The poutine is amazing, man. If we go to Canada, I'm taking it to get some poutine. Brian says, look at my Les Paul for 14-inch radius. Is that what I'm looking for? Where's Les Paul?
I think so. Yeah, it's getting pretty bad down here. I got guitars here. He's got guitars here. It's not a complaint. Don't get me wrong, but it's just one of those things where Mrs. Beard's like, "What are you guys doing?"
I can carry it over, but I won't be able to put it back.
Les Pauls have a 12. Ooh. Turn out the light. The party's over. I look better now. That light went out.
Yeah. I guess. It's weird because it's not something that jumps out at me. Neck radius doesn't jump out. It jumped out on me that was flatter.
Well, and I don't know that I would have figured it out if you didn't say something, but now that you say it, I mean, that little bit of a crown there is not there. Which I think the last big discussion I heard about neck radius was on the Silver Sky. Of course, everyone lost their mind about everything on the Silver Sky, and we're worried about it fretting out when it was banged. I think it's like a 7.25 radius or something like that.
Yeah.
But, seems to work for the guy they built it for. So, yeah. I like the neck pickup in here. So a guitar that we weren't going to play or talk about, I've seen the man play and talk about it.
Right.
That is a nice Les Paul.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's one of the 1960s classic, 1960 reissued classic kind of. What's Hack call it? The green snot inlays or something. So, where are we at here?
I don't know. I think we're talking about poutine and burgers and
Well, yeah, I mean, I think
neck radius.
our hours almost up.
Here's my Les Paul. It looks a lot like a 2001 PRS single cut.
Yes, yeah, I believe it is in 2000s. Was that the only year they made? You know, I haven't done much research on it. Was that the only year they made them? Because now that he says that, I feel like everyone I've ever seen has been a 2006.
If you'd like to see some nice Les Pauls, go look up the Player's Choice video we did with Brody.
Yeah, well.
There's a Player's Choice in there and then 2 other really nice Les Pauls. And coming up, if you like Les Pauls, our friend Mr. Holbrook's coming over. He's got 9. And he's bringing over his 3 to 5 unique ones. And then he's got, a 68 custom. So like one that's like, wow. And the other was like, wow, that's interesting Les Paul. So that's coming up sometime after Thanksgiving, which Thanksgiving brought to you by my friend Jason Reason at Axe and Amp down in the Nashville area with his turkey. Speaking of food, here's a turkey and a turkey wearing it. So, what you got there?
That's one of the years they did the Mother of Snots.
There's Guitar Hack.
There he
We were
is.
just talking about him.
There he is. How's it going, Hack? So I think we're seeing Hack on Thursday night.
Yes, we are.
Right? So we're going to join his show. Which we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's Thursday night at 8, right?
Right. Correct us if we're wrong, Hack, but Thursday night at 8 we'll be over there on his show, which will be a lot of fun. He slipped in here like the minute before I was about to close this down. That's the way to do it. That's the way. All right, so I think that sums it up, right?
Yeah.
The one other thing that we could mention.
I was going to say, it's all your fault. I could mute it if you want to pull it out.
We want to pull it out. The other thing we could mention is this Pat picked up today, which is a Barber Electronics direct drive. This is, well, I almost said one of the newer ones. It's like version 2. It's newer than the one I have, but it's nowhere near one of the newer ones.
The one you have has like
Right.
It has grease pen writing on it because it's so original.
Right.
That they've changed where the light is on the pedal, and so it's great. Like, well, now between the two of us, we have 3 of them, but I couldn't pass it up for the price, and I liked his on my board for a while, but
that's a totally underrated. I don't know if it's underrated, but it's I don't see enough love for that. The Barber Electronic direct drives are great.
well, they're made Maryland, right?
And they are made in Maryland. So
I've got it. Well.
So they said check out DR Guitars Live Wire show on Wednesday. What time is that, Brian? Throw that out there.
Woo!
All right, cool.
That'll give me time to do hair and makeup.
All right. Do we want to...
I may look a little bit like Nick Nolte's mugshot when you see me on Thursday. I believe I'm going to go see a stylist.
Do we want to play this out a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
I think we're both rattled after like driving to Philly yesterday and driving back, and then the 2 hour or the daylight savings time, and
I got jacked up on daylight savings time. I woke up at 1:57, and I'm like, is this the first 1:57 or the second 1:57? It went 1:59 and then back to 1. I'm like, sweet. And then I was awake until 4 and had to get up at 7 to go rock in the house of the Lord. That's not a very rock and roll hour. So, yeah.
All right, cool. Very cool. So I think we play out a little bit. Hey, thanks for everybody for joining us tonight. One of the cool things like we've noticed that's been happening is that subscriber count's been going up, and we passed 300 the other day, which, 300 might not seem like a lot, maybe it's not, but when you're doing it for fun and all of a sudden 300 people are checking out, it's kind of cool. So we really appreciate. Mm-hmm. I think, if you are a subscriber, I know some of you are, thank you so much. If you're not, what are you waiting for? Like, right. help us out.
Right.
Because it's starting to pay off. It's starting to get, thanks. It's starting to get,
I don't remember what the number was, but like of the 300, 78 of them were in the last very short period of time.
Yeah.
Like it grew exponentially. It took forever to get to 100, and then 200 happened pretty quickly, and then 300 was like a blink of an eye. So,
yeah, it's pretty cool. So like I said, we really appreciate that. Also, it's on Instagram. Yeah. We've been posting Instagram or Facebook or both. Mm-hmm. We've been posting stuff there, so check us out there. And I think with that, we're gonna hit that thing we were hitting. That'd be mine.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm reminding you that you never have too much gear. No matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.
Even if you're talking about Leslie pedals, apparently.
12 to 14 Leslie pedals and 3 or 4 guitars under $200.
The question comes: what happens after Leslie pedals?
I don't know. Well, I can tell you what happens. Our reverb store gets lit. Anyway, thanks for being with us.
Start playing that rhythm because 4 chords is too much for me. Brian says we have a good promoter, and I think he's really right about that. He's been a great friend of the show. All right, good night, Gracie.
That's my Leslie pedal.